Hi everyone. Okay, from class the last day, there seemed to be a couple of issues with printing out your drawing. So I'm going to do a quick tutorial on printing out. Okay, so as we said in class, if you look here in model space, I have my drawing here. So I've just got an elevation, simple elevation. I've got a bit of text and I've got my elevation here, or my plans here. Okay, so you can see from there, there's a couple of changes needed to be made to those. But I'm more concerned about printing this for the moment. So how do I go about printing it? Well, I come into my layout and I set up my layout. So I have sent you a layout, so you can use that layout or you can create your own layout. But if you're creating your own layout, you need to make sure that you come up here and go into print and page setup. And when you go to page setup, we're setting it up for an A1 page. So we click on A1, go modify, and we'll set it up here. Now I'm setting it up to a DWG to PDF. Some of you might put it to an Adobe, whatever it is, but you have to make sure that it is to PDF. We're not clicking on one of your printers here. We're clicking on a PDF. And then I'm putting it to A1 and scale 1 is to 1 and OK. And close. Now, what you might find that your page changes and that the dotted line sits inside the line here. And if that is the case, well then you're going to have to make the changes to that. So you're going to have to scale down the title block to suit. But what I want to focus in on here is bringing in my images or bringing in my drawings into my layout or my paper space. So in order to do that, I need to create a viewport. And to create a viewport, I type in viewports, and press enter. And this box will come up. So I'm going to go for a single viewport and I'm going to click OK, and I can create that single viewport there. And now what I can do is double click and I can zoom in on one of my drawings here. Now what I want to do is I want to put this into a scale. So in order to put it to a scale, I click on here. I'll go scale 1 is to 50. And that's it there. It's probably a bit big. So now what I want to do is go scale 1 is to 100. And that looks a little bit better. Now once I'm happy with that, I can double click outside. And now what I can do is I can just reduce the size of my viewport so that it only shows the elevation in the viewport. And then what I can do is I can move the viewport. So I can click on move and it'll allow me to move the viewport into position. And then if I wanted to, what I could do is I could put in a scale. So I have it scaled, so I go to my text box, I create a text box and I write in scale 100, and I'll just make that into a different text style. I go click it on there and I can see there, and that's probably okay. I could make it bigger, and if I wanted to make it bigger, I'm just going to move it first. I could make it bigger, but I could just click it like so. If I wanted to make it bigger, I need to highlight it and I need to change the size here, so make it 5. Click in here, sorry, highlight it, click on 5, and this is a little tricky, enter. And that then is scale 1 is to 100. Now that's one of my elevations. Now I want to put in my next elevation. I type in viewports again. I'll click on single, click OK, and I'll create a viewport here. So now what I want to do is I want to bring in my other elevation. So again, I double click inside my viewport, I put in a scale, so I'm agreed that 1 is to 100 is fine, and then I come over here and I pan. So I pan so that we can see the full elevation like so. Okay, now I double click outside and then I can size my viewport to suit. Now I've already put in the text and I'm happy that that text is good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that text. So I click on it, I click copy, I'm going to bring it down and just drop it underneath my new drawing. and because I know that that's the scale. And the reason I'm putting the scale in under here is because there may be different scales. So when you have your maps might be in at different scales, and in that situation down here you would say scale refer to drawing, or NTS, which is not to scale. Okay, so again, if I wanted to create another viewport, I put in VPORTS and I do the same again, single. Okay, and I could draw a viewport in here. Now I'll double click in here and I'll zoom in on my plan, and again I'll put it in as 1:100, because normally you'll put your plans and your elevations in at the same scale. Okay, so once we have those in place, then that's our second floor. Now you can see from it that at 1:100 we've still have lots of space for your maps and your images or whatever else that you have that you're going to put in on your drawing. Now the next thing then I want to do is I want to go to my layer properties. And my layer properties is up here, and I'm going to create a layer called viewport. Okay, so I'm going to go new layer. I'm going to call it VP for viewport. I'm going to leave the color as it is, leave it on, but just down here I'm going to click the printer off. And this is important because the viewports are going to be in a layer that's non-printable. So I'm happy with that. I can close out of that. I'm going to highlight this, 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 and I'm going to drop down and I'm going to make it the viewport layer. It doesn't seem to change anything with it, but what will happen is that when we go to File, we go Print, we're going to go to Plot, we go Continue to a single plot, and then we can click OK. Now what it does, it asks us to save it somewhere. So it's saying Sample Title Block Layout 1, and I'm just going to put that onto my desktop and save. And now it'll automatically open, and if it opens up you can see that that's it open, and there's your 3 drawings in place. Okay, and that there is as a PDF, so you can see it's sample title block layout.pdf. So if I go back to my CAD drawing now, okay, so I see a problem here, so there's a line there's a problem. I need to go and try and fix that problem.